In this episode, we are going to take a look from a different perspective to the famous debate, streaming versus CD. Are you ready? Let's dive in now. Okay guys, so a lot of people today still ask themselves reasonably, since also technology is constantly developing and changing, but at the same time there's a comeback of a CD. What is better? What sounds better? In the end, that is the most important question, apart from the different characteristics, which we are going to explore. What is better? So we're going to try to understand a little bit of the main features of CD, of streaming, the difference in sonics, what is the main problem, plus we're going to do a couple of tests. So stick around. Okay, clearly, as we said, let's start from the CD. There is a comeback. Actually, there has been a slight comeback since, I would say, 2-3 years. Now it's quite big. I see that also from the visualizations of my videos dedicated to CD. They explode, which I understand. I mean, it's a return to physical contact. That's another important part of CDs. The experience overall, clearly, I mean, it's banal to say it, but it is something that is part of why this medium is gaining, again, a lot of success. Clearly, one of the most important features of all is the fact that CDs, if you know where to look, are damn extremely cheap. Yes, they are very cheap now, especially in contrast with the crazy prices of vinyl records. So, if people want to have a different experience, a tangible experience, and I mean, buying a record goes around $25, $30, $35 euro, you're going to start looking elsewhere, reasonably. And apart from that, it's just fun to explore that if you never tried. A lot of people never tried CDs. Yes, believe me or not. So I have also here my notes clearly to recollect the different aspects we're going to discuss today. Clearly also part of the tangible experience is the artwork, the liner notes. You're holding a piece of history in your hands, especially if we're talking about the old editions of CDs, the better ones, the best ones, which we'll get back again on this. So these are the main aspects concerning CD, compact disc. Streaming, and when I talk about streaming, the whole video is discussing about high quality streaming, okay? Uncompressed streaming. Because if we're talking about Spotify and the alike, clearly there's no question that CDs sound better. I mean, absolutely. Maybe some very simple music with a normal compression may sound the same. I mean, MP3s, the success of MP3s in the beginning was to that. It's given, it was actually connected to the fact that cutting off those very high frequencies, they could reduce greatly the space. Hence, its great success, especially in the late 90s. But apart from that, so we are focusing on high quality streaming, uncompressed streaming, CD quality, or even better. So like Qobuz, for example, that's the main one I use. But not only, I mean, I know that even Apple Music now is going lossless. There is an option to go all the way up to lossless, etc., etc. So that's our aim, okay? Since we are talking about high quality reproduction. So what is the problem though with streaming? It is intangible. But at the same time, it's not a problem. Actually, it's very convenient. It's convenient for many reasons. One of this is clearly that it is not present in your houses like CDs that, as you can see, take up a lot of room. And a lot of people don't care about that. They don't want to mess with that. They want it as simple as possible. And clearly streaming is always going to win because you just need a phone, a pair of earphones, earbuds, or whatever it is, headphones, and you're going to have, with today's technology, a great experience. Yes, absolutely. So you can, it's portable, you can listen everywhere you want. I mean, we all know the convenience of streaming, but clearly, especially when we're talking about high res, but not only, you need a good internet connection. Things are getting better now, but that's a condition that has to be satisfied in order to use that service. And that is sometimes a problem, actually. In any case, apart from this, let's hit now the sound quality. What are the differences? Well, first of all, if we talk about CDs, one important factor is that in most cases, not always, but in most cases, we have a better mastering, okay? And that is why I push so much, I praise so much the qualities, the sonic qualities of the older CDs, the first CDs, the one that goes under the sparse code of AAD or even ADD. Clearly, there are excellent also DDD versions, especially in the classical music. Absolutely. But in general, if we're talking about, I would say, rock, pop, and especially blues and jazz, those AAD CDs, oh boy, guys. I've discussed this a little more at length. Here is a link to that video. You're going to find all the links in the video description here below. So in most cases, once again, if we're talking especially of the older ones, CDs do have a better mastering. Later CDs, there is this loudness war that you probably have heard. If you're new to this, it is just a compression problem mainly because they're doing a specific master for Spotify. That's what the main purpose for a master is, to create a version of that record, of that mix for that medium usually. Hence, for vinyl, for CD, for streaming, and blah, blah, blah. And when it hits streaming, usually the quality goes down. But things are changing. We have to say this. I mean, with Qobos and things like that, things are changing and you can find great stuff, especially in high res. And high res is actually one of the positive aspects of the sonics of streaming, even though at that point you can't compare it anymore with CD. But it is also true that I would say the majority, unfortunately, of high res music isn't actually high res. For various reasons I said in many videos. Well, first of all, because a lot of them are just upsampled to create the high res version, but it's always coming from a CD version, or even worse sometimes. The recording maybe isn't that good. The mixing maybe isn't that good. The mastering maybe isn't that good. So even if you have a high res version, you're not going to have a high quality reproduction. So there are various reasons at stake for why high res isn't automatically high quality, excellent sonics. No, it's not automatic, okay? I did also a video on high res, the good and the bad. Here is a link to that if you're interested. So, but that's a little bit out of the picture today. We're focusing on CD. Also because a lot of albums, even the older ones, don't have a high quality, a high res version in Qobos and other services like that. So these are the main reasons, but, and here I'm touching the main purpose of this video, the core. If we are talking about sonics related to streaming, there is a problem. Actually, there is a big problem, which is connected to the loss of packets, the degradation of the signal. This is something true. It is scientifically proven. There are scientific articles, peer-reviewed articles, discussing about the problem, and also, as you can see something now going on the screen, but also people that are studying, proposing new models to lower this problem, because it is a problem. So this already demonstrates that it is a true problem, and it is ongoing in the process of being solved, and I'm sure it's going to be solved in the future. It's always going to get better and better, clearly. But now, and it's been already a few years, streaming is always a struggle. There's always some problems. And this is also due to the fact that we are consuming it on the fly. Because in fact, there is a clear distinction between a file transfer, that's going to give you a bit perfect, original, one-to-one version of that file once transferred, even though a lot of people think that there are some problems there too, because we are always thinking about quantity and not quality, but that's a different story. Let's just go back to this problem. So streaming has a problem, especially in the loss of packets. when you lose a strong amount of packets, the quality goes down. Something similar we can imagine or better represent or have a better idea, for example, when we're experiencing a degradation in the signal of Netflix, when we're watching a video, a streaming video. That's immediately evident to everyone. In audio, even because the amount of data is lower, clearly, than HD or 4K, but there is this problem. Don't think only about the US, please. I live in Italy. There are lots of places in the world. That is still a big problem, as we have seen from the articles and as a lot of people are truly experience. So why is this loss of packets takes place? Why does it happen? Well, there is a variety of reasons. You can see here now this scheme where you can see, for example, misconfiguration at the beginning, faulty connections throughout. We're talking about where the signal is generated and sent all the way up to the consumer. Unwanted traffic, outdated devices along the route, DDoS attacks, meaning that there is these jamming of purposely created by hackers, and then at that point there's not enough data or there is too much data, and it creates clearly congestions and problems on the line. But also there is strictly connected, in fact, more data than the device can handle. The distance, overall distance, can create problems, and also clearly software issues. Now these are the main reasons that we can find, but there are also more that can also take place in your house, considering your system or what technology or what devices you're using on the fly, on the go. So the problem is quite articulated, quite complex. So in order to better understand this, there's a little test we can do, which I think is fun, interesting, and that it can explain a little better this problem. It's not going to be 100% accurate, but it is something that can give you an idea. And I'm referring to the site called packetlosstest.com. You're going to find the link in the video description. And if you try, I've been trying all day, several times, and also in other days in the past, I've been trying to test on Wi-Fi and on just a normal cell phone connection, 5G, how is behaving my signal. And as you can see a little bit on screen, a few examples, I did several tests and I got always different results. Very rarely I got zero, but I did got zero sometimes. Complete absence of loss of packets. I mean, the whole signal did not have problems and I received the download, okay? You can fiddle around actually with the parameters and increase the size of the packets. And when you increase the size of the packets, oh boy, baby, if things get dramatic. On Wi-Fi computers or also Wi-Fi cell phones and cell phone connection, meaning 5G or 4G. You start to lose a lot of packets. And in one case, I also lost more than 80%. I mean, a lot, guys. A lot. And in fact, when I'm on the fly, I'm on the go, I'm around with my cell phone, a lot of times I have problems, I must admit. Now, when we talk about packet loss, it's not that, well, yes, the signal can be interrupted at a certain point, meaning that it's trying to send back the packets, it's trying to re-download the different packets, and that's also something that can happen. But there's also degradation, sometimes subtle, sometimes more important, it depends, in the sound quality, meaning that you're starting to lose some details, some finesse, some background noises, all the way to a complete change in the tone and the timbre of instruments, voices, and things like that. So there's a scale, clearly, with a different impact on the results. Nevertheless, try for yourself. You just have to go online and try to fiddle around with the parameters if you want, or just go set the start and try for yourself, and you will see that in most cases, especially with portable devices, you're going to experience some problems. Okay, apart from this, let's try now to do another test. I have recorded a track from a CD, and I also have recorded a track coming from Qobuz, played through Audioirvana on my computer, and sent to my DAC Even the CD player is connected to my external DAC, the T+A D200. Fantastic DAC, which reclocks everything. Incredible. We've recently done a video on if CD players, or more specifically actually CD transports, have the same sound or not. Very interesting results there. Check the video here if you're interested. Oh, below is another link. And we are going to try to play both tracks. I'm not going to tell you which is which. You're going to have to try to guess which is which, and if you hear differences among everything. I'll try to play them one and then the other, and then also combined, so you can understand more better the differences, if there are, between the two tracks. The two tracks have been then captured. I wanted to capture the analog output, okay? It's important, not a rip directly from the CD. No. I ripped the two analog sounds that came out of the DAC, so that at that point were reconverted by my Lyra 2 at 96 kilohertz and 24-bit resolution. Why, Guido, did you do that? Very simple, because I don't want to limit what is coming out. I want to capture everything with as much sampling rate and bit resolution I can, okay? That's why I did this. You're going to find also the two tracks here below, okay, for download, because clearly YouTube is going to compress everything. So if you want even a better experience, you can try to download and listen to those, and then start again the video and discover which is which. Let's go. Okay guys, are you ready? Pause the video if you're not. Here it goes. Track 1 was the CD. Track 2 was the streaming. But apart from this example, I don't know what you have heard. I also played them back in my headphones. I played them back in my system. And I must admit that I have found practically no differences. In this specific track you've heard, I actually do not hear any difference. I tried several others because clearly the mastering will be sometimes different. Well, in most cases it's going to be different. The dynamic range is going to be different. In fact, I forgot to say that I normalized the two tracks, but I did not normalize the loudness, perceived loudness, because I wanted to keep the dynamic range of the two files, which fortunately in this case are equal, so no problem about that. But I also tested dozens of tracks, okay? I didn't want to put too much stuff in the video, just one is enough. But what I found listening to other tracks, it's the same result. I have to admit that I do not, with CD quality, hear any difference. I wasn't expecting that, I must admit. You know I'm straightforward, I'm always honest with my results, and sometimes I discover them while I'm doing a video. So this was a little bit shocking because the narrative goes, and I am convinced that CDs are better than streaming. But a lot of times that is not the case. When is the case? When probably you are out on the go. When you have more packet loss. Because here in my environment, I have a fiber connection now. Everything is rather perfect. The conversion, the T+A does a reclocking, incredible reclocking procedure on the signal, and everything comes out pristine, fantastic sound. So in the future, maybe this and also the test I did with the CDs, players, and transports could be redone with a lower quality DAC and see if other differences arise, because that could be. But with a high quality DAC, I must admit there isn't that much of a difference. Once again, though, a lot of those packages lost along the road or arrived late I have experienced at least much more on portable devices, okay? And there is probably where you would hear more differences. Here in a, let's say, controlled environment, I haven't. I must admit, I haven't. But in any case, I don't like the experience of streaming. I had a dedicated player for that. I ripped it out of the wall. I put it in a drawer. I don't care about it. I like to hold a CD and have that experience. Also because a lot of old stuff on jazz and Japanese stuff, you can't find them on Kobos and things like that. So that's also something we could say about CDs actually. There isn't actually everything like someone claims. So in the end, when do I use streaming? Commuting. Yes, when I go to work. That's it. Okay guys, let me know about your experience. If you have tried just even casually comparing a CD with your experience in streaming out and about or at home. I'm sure you guys even have better gear than me to do that at home, and I'm sure that the differences are even less evident probably. If not, I'm very interested. Thank you again for watching, and remember that music is born analog. Bye!
Well guys, if you're enjoying my videos and you're enjoying my channel, please consider to subscribe by clicking the black and white logo here below. Also, don't forget to click the notification bell so you'll never miss an episode and you will become a true member of the analog community.